and welcome to this week's technique breakdown. This week we're going to be covering the overhand right. Having a powerful overhand right in your arsenal can be an equalizer in any fight against any opponent. Especially in MMA with the small gloves, all you need is that small opening for that overhand right to connect, and all of a sudden the fight can be over. Lately I've been working the overhand right myself a lot more in sparring, and it's starting to transition over to my fights where I've been landing it more and more frequently. And today I'm going to share with you the way that I throw the overhand right and the way that I teach the overhand right. So let's not waste any time, let's get straight to it. So everything comes from a good, nice, athletic fighting stance. And what I want to do when I throw the overhand right is I want to move my head from the center line. So I slip slightly inside. My hand stays at the same spot. I move forward and I twist my body. And what I do from here is my punch comes from up and then it turns down around the opponent's lead shoulder or punch if you're slipping a punch, so that then your punch comes from over the top and connects flush on the chin of the opponent. All right, so again, step by step. You move your head off the center line, you come forward with it. Your arm stays at the same spot. Your elbow comes up, and then you throw the punch coming from up downwards. So imagine your opponent holding the arm out like this. And then what you want to do is you move your head on the inside, and then the overhand right comes from up over my arm, over my shoulder, connecting flush to the jaw like this. And that is the reason why you want to throw it in a looping motion and punching downward like that. And it's very important that you don't stay in the same spot when you do this. Because if your opponent throws a jab or a cross, a straight punch, and your head stays in the same position, your overhand is not going to be able to compete with that. You're going to be hit square in the face, and your punch is going to be too short. So what you want to do is you want to move your body forward, slip to the outside, and come up over the top with the punch. Now, when I connect with my overhand right, something that I like to think about is structure. How my punch is structured. I want to keep my elbow 90 degrees bent, something like this. Because if my arm is too straight, I won't have structure behind my punch. And what do I mean by structure? Well, I mean when I connect, I want my elbow to be behind it so that my shoulder is connected to it and that my punch and my body's mass is behind the punch. If it's a straight punch and you're just flailing your arm like this, and all of that power is going to go lost once you connect. There's going to be some power, but you're going to lose a lot of it. So when you throw it, I want your shoulder to be nice and relaxed, but your arm should be stiff as a rock. So when you throw it, boom, you twist at the last moment. So in front of my opponent, I'm here, I move my head off the center line, and then I come up over the top. And as with any other punch, there won't be power in it if you only do an arm punch. Meaning if you don't put your body into it, if you don't turn on your rear foot, if you don't twist your hip into it, if you don't get your body's mass into it, there'll be no power. You're just gonna pat him on his head. It might hurt, but it won't have the effect that a full power overhand right could have. You want to twist your whole body into it, like that. See that I extend my hip, I get up on the ball of my rear foot, I turn my hip, I get my shoulder into it, I move my head to the side, and then I bring all that mass with me, boom, over the top, straight into the jaw of the opponent. All right, so if I show it on the bag, it's gonna look something like this. I got my bag in front of me, and this bag in particular is awesome for throwing this because it's so high and it's a bit thicker so that you can really dig into it without hurting yourself. So I'm in front of the bag, and this is a shorter technique. You can't really do this from too far away. It's not from straight punch distance if you're not really moving in with it and throwing it at the same time. So if you want to make life easy for yourself in the beginning when you're learning this, get into that middle to infighting distance where you can throw uppercuts, hooks, and of course the overhand. All right, so as you can see, when you put your whole body behind the punch and you really dig your shoulder into it and then snap that overhand into the bag, you generate a lot of force. And just imagine somebody throwing a punch like a jab, then you slip the jab on the inside and come up over the top with it, countering their jab, throwing that overhand, and making them hesitate the next time that they want to throw a jab at you. And when you're starting to work this technique on the bag, don't go full force in the beginning. Get the basics down of it. Get that feeling for it. Get the mechanics. Make sure that you're relaxed in the shoulder. Make sure that you're turning your body when you're throwing it. And make sure you have that structure behind your punch. And so that when you connect, it's a stiff punch instead of, slapping it and losing power. When you're doing it correctly, it's not just a wild swing. In a fight, it easily becomes a wild swing, but when you're practicing it, you should always aim for doing it as technically as possible. So when you're moving around the bag, make sure that you have structure, make sure that you have balance, and feel the distance between you and the bag. If you're standing too far away from it, maybe do a slight roll, and then throw it. Or step with it. And once you have that down, you're going to start feeling the power in the punch, and you will enjoy that. So keep working. All right, guys, that was the overhand right, the equalizer in a lot of fights that many times in the UFC and MMA in general help the less technical and less skilled fighter beat the more technical and skilled fighter. And if you really start working on this and make this your own technique, it's going to be such a dangerous weapon to have in your arsenal. And all you need is one clean overhand right that lands flush and the fight can be over. And that is reason enough why you should start working on the overhand right. And as always, leave your comments in the box below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that right now, because I'm posting videos like this on a weekly basis and there's a lot more to come. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you next week.